Hello family, Chef Lorious here. Welcome back to the Love Lab. Today we are making classic bread pudding. Well, at least my classic bread pudding. How about that? Come on in the kitchen, guys. Let's cook. Okay, now bread pudding and French toast are, I would say they were cousins, but I think they're a little bit more than cousins. They're probably siblings. Anyway, I'm using a nice big loaf of challah. Isn't this beautiful? I almost don't want to cut it because it's so pretty. But this is a nice loaf of challah bread I got from my bakery I love their bread. You can also use brioche bread. Any bread really is fine, but brioche and challah just make it amazing. So I have this loaf together. I'm gonna cut this up into pieces, and then I'm gonna put it here on my baking sheet and put it in the oven and let it dry out for a little bit. Now, alternatively, you can leave the bread out overnight and just let it naturally stale up, get a little stale for you. I just wanted to look at it some more before I cut it. And if you're thinking, why are you taking a beautiful loaf of bread and getting it stale? It'll be okay, really, trust me, because the bread pudding that this cup makes is going to be out of this world. Okay, I'm proud of myself because I did not eat one piece of bread. We're going to take these bread cubes and I'm going to put them into a 300-degree oven for about 10 or 15 minutes just to get them a little dried out and a little firm. It's okay that they're stacked. You can, I guess one layer would be ideal, but you don't need to get all concerned and worked up about that. That's the least of your worries, okay? So put this in a 300-degree oven, 10-15 minutes, then we'll pull it out and we'll continue going from there. Well, I'm back. I have toasted my bread and I've gone ahead and put it in my baking dish, and it doesn't have to get hard and crunchy. We're not making toast. We just want it to be lightly toasted, okay? So that's done, that's all there. And we're getting ready to make the custard that goes in here. So here I've got sugar, and I have a lot of sugar because it's a dessert recipe. Okay, 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of milk, 5 eggs, and then we're gonna also put in some seasonings. So we're gonna start by breaking the eggs up. We're gonna just break these yolks up so they're ready to go, okay? All right, we're gonna add to our sugar our milk here. Now I'm using evaporated milk. Ooh, the oven is telling me something's ready. We've got our sugar and evaporated milk. You can also use half and half, or you can use regular milk. I like evaporated milk because it's just a little sweeter and it feels like a kiss to me. But don't use condensed milk. Okay, that's just too sweet. That's just too sweet. We're gonna add the eggs in here, okay? And I'm using a fork initially. I have a whisk here, but sometimes, y'all, I just go old school. My mama used a fork. I don't know if she ever even owned a whisk, okay? So if a fork was good enough for mama, it's good enough for me. See how much easier this is by having broken up those egg yolks before we put it in? I'm gonna add to that some cinnamon and nutmeg, okay? And a little vanilla powder. This is something I discovered at the grocery store this year. It's probably been there all along and it's just new to me. I'm okay with that, but I love it. I have a video out, or coming out, how to make your own vanilla at home because it's easier than you think. But I saw that powder in the store. Y'all, I got excited. I'm not even gonna pretend. I was like, oh. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here. Now I've got everything in here. All right, here we go. See, now we're just getting this all nice and mixed together. You can taste the custard. I don't recommend it because it's got 5 raw eggs in it. I know I'm usually a taster, and I won't talk about you if you do, but it could be a serious health situation. 5 raw eggs? A little questionable. All right, what we're gonna do next is we're going to pour this custard over our bread pieces here, and then we're going to let it soak in. What you don't want to do when you pour it in is immediately put it in the oven. You want to give it about 15 or 20 minutes to let all of this custard soak in, okay? Here we go, let's start pouring. Because you want everything to have this flavor in it. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take this same fork we were using earlier, Mama's whisk, and just start to push it down so that I'm really making sure all of this bread is getting into the custard. This is an important step because the flavor of the bread pudding is coming from this custard, the combination of the custard and this good bread. So now that I've got this on, everything looks like it's in some custard. Push it down. I'm gonna set it aside and just let it rest for about, like I said, 10 minutes or so, just to make sure everything has soaked through, because you don't want dry bread and bread pudding. That's not good. All right, we're gonna set this aside, let it soak, and I'll be back. All right, here we are. Our bread pudding has sat for about 20 minutes or so. And look, you see how that's nice and spongy? That's what we wanted. That means that custard has been absorbed by all of the bread pieces. Now here we've got some brown sugar and soft butter. Let's start with the fork. And we really just want to mix these together, okay? I'm gonna actually use my hands, because we're going to get these combined, and then we're gonna sprinkle this all over the top of our bread pudding, and that's gonna give us a delicious flavor as it bakes. And again, you can use an apparatus to do this, but I'm always telling y'all, your best kitchen tool is these hands. Catch these hands, okay? See how I'm just working it in? Okay, now that these are combined, we're just gonna proceed with sprinkling them all on the top of our bread pudding. Now, you can also add pecans or raisins to this. Those are nice additions. We're going to bake this in a 375-degree oven for about 35-40 minutes or so until it's done. How we'll know it's done is you'll stick a knife or a toothpick in and it'll come up clean, because remember, we've got eggs in here and those eggs need to cook. All right, while our bread pudding is in the oven, I've started on the sauce. In here, I'm melting 2 sticks of butter and a cup of brown sugar, okay? And I'm just stirring it together so it can all be nice and one, okay? There's a lot of brown sugar in this recipe, I admit it, but I think that's why I like it. It reminds me of someone. Okay, sorry. Now, as this melts, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add an alcohol flavor to it. Now, you don't have to do this, but today we're gonna add whiskey, a vanilla flavored whiskey. Now, you can add whiskey, you can add rum, you can add bourbon, you can add Hennessy. You really, whatever you choose, you can, or you can choose to put nothing else in it. If you choose not to add an alcohol in it, I would add a little bit of cream in here to thin it out and pour that on as your sauce, okay? Now, see how it's coming to a boil? I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Here is my vanilla whiskey that I'm using. How much am I gonna use? That's a good question. I'm gonna start here with about a half a cup. Now, by pouring it in, see that? Pour it in slowly, because what's gonna happen, it's gonna pop up on you. That's the alcohol content. And that's okay, because that's gonna cook out the alcohol, so you'll be left with just the flavor, which makes it safe for kids. Now, if you're making this for adults, which I've done before, you might just wanna do the butter part, and at this stage, after you put it in there, just take it all off, you know? Okay, but this is a much better way to do it, I think. Bring this to a nice boil, everything will dissolve, and as soon as that bread pudding comes out the oven, as soon as it comes out, do not pass go, nothing. Just pour this sauce all in it, and it'll soak it up and be amazing. All right, all we gotta do now is wait for the pudding to come out the oven. Our bread pudding is out of the oven. We are going to slather it in that lovely sauce we made. Look at this. Oh, my husband loves when I make bread pudding. So this is a really good way to say I spent a little too much. Or to say I'm sorry. But it's even more powerful when I haven't done anything. Oh my God, this looks so good. Now, I know you're thinking that's too much sauce on it. No, what's gonna happen, remember this is bread, right? So as it sits here, it's gonna soak it up. You can even take a little fork and just push a few pieces like that, you know, just lightly, because remember we got that little crust on there from the brown sugar and the butter. It's going to absorb it. See how it's even already starting to soak it up? Oh my God, this looks so good. You guys, I need to go take a picture of this for the thumbnail. Pray it makes it to the thumbnail, because this is unbelievable. Oh, thank you. All right, guys. Oh, is there any way I can't even sneak a piece. It'll look like it. All right. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me right here in the Love Lab. I'm Chef Lorious. I will see you next time for more Calibama cooking. Happy cooking.